Hi, it's Charlie giving you Monday's market video, and I'm going to start off the video with a question to pose to you. And that question is, what do you think happens to your win rate as you get better as a trader? What do you think happens to your win rate as you get better as a trader? Do you think your win rate goes up, or do you think your win rate goes down? Answers on a postcard to that one. Maybe we'll come back to that next week because I'd be interested to see if we get any responses to that. Because quite often, there can be two sides to this, and so I'd like to see people's responses to that one. Right, okay. I'll start off on the S&P and the Dow, and I haven't actually got too much to say about the stock markets at the moment because they're, to me, in a little bit of no man's land, and some personally a little bit unsure as to which way they really want to go. So I'm not too interested in trading them right now. I haven't done enough analysis on them at the moment. I haven't had time to really spend some time on them to say, okay, yeah, which way I think they may want to go. So I'm not particularly personally interested in them right now, but I will get some analysis done on them, and then we'll see. But for now, yeah, we've had this nice little bounce up last week, fantastic bounce up actually, and then Friday after the non-farm payrolls just had a little bit of a sell-off day, and then we're back up a bit again this morning. But what it's basically done is it's come into these bands, and so it may just start playing within these daily bands, and so it could just get a little bit congested for maybe a few days, maybe. So at the moment, I don't have too much of a view on those markets. However, obviously, if we were to come down and break this low, then I would suspect that we're going to see more downside on the S&P and the Dow. Likewise, if we came up and we come up to this high, then I suspect there could be a little bit more upside. The only thing I would suggest on this, if I bring up the drawing tools, go to tools, drawing tools, and put up a trend line. If I drew something along there, and then if I create a parallel to that and put that sort of along there, we've got a funny little channel potentially in play here. So if we were to come up and break this high, then it would then be coming up to this sort of trend line as well. So it'd be something to watch out for there on those markets. Okay, and let's have a look at some of the currencies. Let's start off with the dollar yen. Now the dollar yen, funny actually, on telecharts here it says that it's already hit its daily 50, but it's only just, and it's not quite hit it even on eSignal this morning on the other charts. But nevertheless, it's been meandering its way down, not up. But overall, it's sort of holding. I guess you could say it's in roughly a holding pattern. It's having a good morning's put a good morning's work in there today, and so again, where do I see the yen going at the moment? I think at the moment with the 8 below the 21 on the daily charts, I think we've got to be a little bit cautious towards that. Actually, I'm just going to double check that on eSignal because I'm looking at that on telecharts, and yeah, eSignal's just about crossed to the downside as well. So a little bit cautious, but the overall trend is obviously solidly up. But I'd like to see us break back up above these highs, up and closer towards 121. And I think that would give us a lot more confirmation that we're probably then going to try and break out back up to the upside. Otherwise, I think a little bit of caution is warranted, because although the trend is up, we were in a small term, very short term downwards trend at the moment, and so it's possible that it wants to carry on chopping around. That's what I'm saying there. So that's that one. Let's have a look at the likes of the Aussie dollar. The Aussie dollar has had a nice little run up. We did catch a couple of 100 points on that last week, so that was nice. Bank closed out overnight actually last night when we hit the 4 hourly 200 MA, and it hit it almost literally perfectly on actually. So we've had a nice run up on that, but actually looking at the chart as it currently stands, there could still be some more upside potential on the Aussie dollar over the coming week or two. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on this one, and looking for opportunities when I see if I see opportunities of more strength coming in, then Aussie dollar does look interesting to me. And lastly, But lastly, let's have a look at the euro dollar. Euro dollar still weak down here. Had a very light sort of bounce end of last week. Continues to be weak as we approach that. Was it January the 22nd when the announcement comes out about whether they're going to be doing QE? And so I'm not too interested in the euro because of it's just really under the hammer, really under the cosh. So I'm not too fussed about that. Let's actually have a look at the dollar index. The dollar index itself, I mean, tremendous trend. I think we've already covered this. It's just closed inside its bands here on the dailies on Friday, so we'll see if that's just going to back off a little bit. Quite often when a market does close back inside the bands, it'll then want to come back down ultimately and test the lower band at least anyway, so we could see a little bit more backing off there. But I think, well, there's certainly been a bit of dollar strength so far this morning, so this isn't live, but certainly it's one to watch. So I'm being a bit vague here as it currently stands. I want to hold back the full analysis for the MBT people, but nevertheless, there's we've had little bounces, fair enough, on these markets. Which way are we going next? I think that probably some of the cross pairs might be better. Looking at some of the cross pairs rather than some of the majors against the US dollar, but certainly if I look at the likes of the Aussie dollar, there may be an opportunity there looming on that currency pair. But we'll have to see. It's always possible if we go back to that one. Let's have a look at that chart again. It's always possible that this is just a bit of a blip up before we roll back over again and go to new lows. But I suspect we might pull back. Still pull back some more yet, but then at some point look to hold and then see if it then can start then pushing back up, and if it does, then I'll start looking at that. Right, I shall leave that with you for now. I'll be back on Friday for live trading.